Hi, check out what I scored in the dumpster. I've had this for a little while, and those who follow me on Twitter probably would recognize. I think I tweeted a photo of this like a month ago or something. It's a credit card imprinter, programmer, embosser machine that banks and other financial institutions or other companies that might have loyalty cards or something like that, it's designed for programming your credit cards. So if you're wondering where your credit card comes from, how they emboss those numbers on there, how they program them and stuff like that, well, it likely came from a machine like this, although this is not one of the big like industrial high volumes ones. This is like a desktop unit, by just looking at the size of it here, that banks can just issue you a card straight away, like within a minute. They can give you a replacement card without having to like go back to the factory and have one printed and then shipped to you. They can just give you one right on the spot. So basically you feed in your pre-printed cards. Of course, you'll just buy them with your company, like, the logo and all the fancy imagery on there, but it'll be blank like this. It might have a magnetic stripe and or a smart card contact. This machine optionally supports programming magnetic stripe cards and also the newfangled smart cards with the chippy in them. And you load them inside the machine and it goes in there and goes around inside all the mechanicals and it embosses it. It can put foil on top of the thing, and a minute later, bingo, it shoots it in this output tray and you've got a programmed and embossed card you can give to the customer straight away. Beauty. So let's take a look at it. I was very surprised to find something like this in the dumpster, and when I saw it I went, what on earth is that? I knew it's the Data Card 150i. I knew it was some sort of like card thing, but I didn't think it would be ones that are used by like banks and financial institutions. So this is pretty cool. And as you can see, it's a little bit worse for wear. It's cracked around here. All this, that's not shaped like that. That's actually all cracked off. And it's designed to have a key interface, but also electronically, you've got to put in a code here. And then there's electromagnet solenoid release in there that then you can lift. Ta-da! Or spoiler alert, we're inside. You can lift it up, and this is where you put your cards in, and like there's output, like reject trays inside and stuff like that. So this is designed for like the operators to actually get in to the mechanicals and have a little bit of a fiddle with it anyway. And as you can see, it's something, happened with this IEC input. They just pushed it all the way in. It still works, but yeah, so this thing's had a bit of a whack. Anyway, this is massively heavy. It weighs like 40 plus kilos or something, and it's got a huge die cast base on it, massive, because it's got like lots of motors and drives and all that sort of stuff inside that, if you're into 3D printers and stuff, you'll probably be familiar with. So it's made in the United States of America, 6.3 amps. This is 250 volt jobby, and then it's got, there's a development port on it, which is all blanked off. Anyway, there are two ports on it. One is a RS-232 communications interface. Another one is a service interface if you want to, like, I don't know, get service codes out of it or something like that. And you can really see the solid base on this thing. Unbelievable. You can even bolt it down. That's how good it is. This thing is a beast. Yeah, it's got to weigh like 45, 50 kilos. So it boots up and it looks fine. Rev F firmware, and is that the number of cards that it's printed perhaps? Anyway, card supply empty, and I've got some blank American Express cards, thanks to Axel Foley.
I need some help. What? I need some more credit cards.
What?
I need a lot this time.
How many?
American Express blank credit cards. I need 2,000 this time.
Get the f out of it.
You can't handle it?
Coming in
Well, if you can't handle it, I'm sorry. I guess I'll take my bag of money to somebody who can't handle it.
You got the money.
I said I got a bag of money, right?
A bag full of money.
A bag about this big, this wide, full to the brim with money.
When do you need the cards?
I need the cards in 3 hours.
Get out 3 hours. Give me some time here.
Hey, look, man, I'm a businessman, okay? I got to make moves. I'm moving constantly,
3 hours.
I'm moving.
3 hours.
3 hours.
3 hours.
3 hours.
3 hours.
And as it turns out, I've got a copy of the demo software here. I had to crack the password, but being the boss level hacker that I am, that was no problem. COM1 9600. I assume it's 9600. That's what the default is. So I'm going to go connect. Got a cable. Let's see if it does anything. Waiting for a response. Do I have a crossover cable? Haven't even checked. Shouldn't take that long. Nah. Mwah. Okay, I RTFM'd, did find the manual, and apparently this now makes sense. This is an output. This is the output hopper, or where your card, your printed card, pops out. That makes sense. That's why it doesn't have any ability to suck the card through, but it can push it out like that. And that's why that's why there's a sensor in there that the card pushes from this side, pushes up, and then it knows that there's a card there. It senses that it's in the output tray. Now, this door here, and that's why this one is always accessible. This one here is a bit harder. This is actually a single card feeder or something. Anyway, but yeah, I think what the deal is, if you want to load the cards in, and because they're protected, they're quite, you know, I guess they're valuable. Like, you know, if you've got the actual blank, like pre-printed bank credit cards with the smart chip and the, you know, everything, like, you know, it looks like the real deal, then, you know, you want those inside the locked thing. And that's what the that's what the key lock on the front is here, and it's an electronic lock, because there's actually a solenoid down here like this. And this one, I did not cable tie that. Somebody's cable tied it. So somebody went, oh bugger, screwing having to operate the software to open the door every time. So somebody's hacked that. One of the bank staff or something has hacked it, and yeah, it just made their life more convenient. Anyway, and it does look obvious that this is the main hopper, so I'm going to whack those in there, close the case, and see if our... Nope, card supply, empty. Wah. I'm obviously not tripping some sort of switch. Now, according to the manual, there's a weight that... Oh, no, okay. Oh, no, I was going to say, there is also a little, like a card thing on here, and that might be how that card hopper goes. Anyway, this apparently, the way you do this is you put your single card in there, and you somehow, it feeds it, you can manually push a card. Oh, hang on, don't. Yeah, there's our weight. There you go. It was in there. No wonder it didn't detect them. All right, let's put our cards in. There we go. Something moved there. There we go. There's that switch moved down there. You can see it. Arm down there. Bingo. That's gone out. You can see the photo sensor down in there. So that is now activated. And we put our weight on top. Bob's your uncle. Now it'll detect it. Come on. Womp, 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 womp. I did manage to get the code to open it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Open cover. Thank you. Maybe I need to go through the process. Now we don't have it anymore, so I assume cards are now detected. Yeah, this thing's like, it's been cracked. Maybe it's been dropped or something. All the door, by the way, all the front part of the door, you can see it's all been cracked along here. So that's maybe been forced open or something. So some disgruntled employee didn't know the code, needed to print some cards, and unfortunately, no matter what I do, I can't get this software to connect. I've tried different data rates and stuff, and I've tried the terminal program, but I'm getting zippity-doo-dah. So, all right, I've confirmed that this doesn't actually output anything on the serial port when it boots up. So, yeah, so much for that. No wonder I wasn't seeing anything on the serial comms program. And of course, silly me doesn't have a null crossover cable. Yeah, that explains why it doesn't work. Damn, I should better mark this as not null, not crossover. Urgh. So I thought I'd try my isolated RS-232 interface, and unfortunately it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because it's a prolific driver, as in prolific chipset on there, and it gives me this code 10 error. You can see that little yellow exclamation mark there, and apparently The reason for this is because, well, they use counterfeit chips or something, and Prolific actually modified their drivers to render the counterfeit adapters unusable because it didn't have a proper vendor ID code or some crap. So, yeah, I'm going to have to modify, download some fix or something. Grr. Right, finally found a null modem cable, and it's a female to female, so which is the common type. So I've got to use a gender bender. I do have a special male to female one somewhere, but and bingo, ready for data command. We're in like Flynn. We have the two different types of fonts: the standard. Is that a thing? Standard, Gothic, or OCR 7B. So that's the difference between the name and the numbers on the card. So the name will be the Gothic one and the numbers will be the OCR. All right, we're going to make a demo card here. A few little bugs in the software it popped up, but I managed to get. Let's make a card for Marty McFly with some choice numbers on here. And so the number font is the OCR 7B and the name is the standard Gothic standard, I'm sure. Anyway, so do we want enable top-in? Top-in is the silver numbering on like that with that silver tape inside that will then like coat the top of the numbers. You can get gold as well just to make it look fancy pantsy. So yeah, we'll enable that, why not? And well, we should just be able to save it and print, hopefully. That's the plan. All right, let's see if we can print this thing. I got my cards in. I should be able to do it with the lid open. I can't see any where bypass the interlog or whatever. So I think it should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and print the button. Here we go. It's our first test. And print preview card. Quantity 1. Yeah, lifts it up, shoves it in. Yeah, yep, yeah. It lifted the card up and shoved it. I can see it in the back there, but it hasn't done anything else. Oh, wah. Is this why they tossed it? Yeah, there we go. Card feed error. Great. Doesn't pop up on the screen to tell us what the problem is, but it's obviously stuck. All right, I'll try that again. I got the jam card out of there, put it back in, and print preview. Go. Nah, exactly the same thing as before. Damn it. And no, I get the exact same error whether or not I have the weight on here, whether or not I have the cover on or off, and you can see that the card's actually jammed down in there, so something is not feeding right. Bummer. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to manually feed this and then switch it on, and it should do a whole reset. So maybe there's something wrong with the mechanism that comes out and picks it up. I don't know. We'll find out. There we go. It's going to reset itself. Yep. Sweet. All right. Give it another burl. Nah, it's jammed again. Bugger. Yeah, so no matter how many times I fiddle around with this, it just doesn't work. Watch this. I'll try it again. I don't have to reset anything. I can just print it. And, well, it lifts it up, pushes the card out, and it just doesn't go any further. It jams. So, well, it indicates that it's jammed, and it actually requires quite a bit of physical force to pull that out, and then it goes thump down like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I've done a lot of fiddling around with it. So short of like trying to get in there and debug the sensors and stuff like that, there's a little photo tranny down there. So that's a detector that the card's been pushed through, but it doesn't even attempt to extend the platform out here, which is the whole point. It's got to capture the card so I can bring it across here and then do the various things and emboss it and then foil it and top it, whatever it's called, and it's just bugger. Maybe that's why they tossed it. So I'd love to show you this working, but unfortunately I can't. So let's try and go through a walkthrough of what it does here. It's it's fairly simple ultimately. So all your cards are stacked in here. You've got to wait, and when it starts, it lifts this up. So that gets lifted up like that. It comes through like that. This sled, for want of a better word, is supposed to come forward, and there is sort of like a little holder in there for the card, but I'm not sure then what would hold the front end of that. Anyway, the card is supposedly, maybe there's something missing from here. I'm not sure what the deal is. So anyway, it's got this obviously. So it's got the card holding onto here somehow, and then of course this sled can move back and forth, and then the card comes across here. So the card comes over here like this, and then it's supposed to, this is the section when it shows in the manual where you can install the optional magnetic stripe reader slash programmer, and also a smart chip, a smart card, smart credit card contact thing. So it'd be a module with contacts, and this one doesn't look to have it. So there's this roller down here. So the card would come across like this, then it would go forward like this, and then it's got a pinch roller here that can then force it into the output tray, but then we haven't done anything, right? So it comes here, and then there's a roller on here. So this has a motor, and that pulls it through. And you can see the magnetic head under that roller. Of course, you need the roller on top to keep pressure down on the magnetic head. And there's just a couple of little wires buggering off that. So we've got the magnetic stripe reader encoder, but yeah, the smart card is an optional module, which isn't here. And then that's going to, I can't get this sled all the way with LBJ. Anyway, I wish this thing worked. It'd be really neat to see it. Anyway, you can see that this sled can potentially come all the way to here. So the card would be pushed out to here like this, and then it can go in this pinch roller. It could actually feed it through here into the output tray, so it kind of like can reject the card or whatever back to the output tray if you don't want to do anything to it, or you just want to you don't want to emboss it, but you just want to program it. And as I said, this is the location in the manual where it says that the smart card programmer module would be. But anyway, if you want to emboss your card, then it wouldn't get it out the output here, and here's a little photo sensor down here, so then it'd pull it this way, and once again it's probably still holding it, so it'd drag it across like this, and then it'd come over into the daisy wheel embossing part. You can see it's actually wedged between the 2 points like that, and once again it'd still be the sled carrying this thing over, but I still don't know what holds the bottom end of it. I still don't know what the deal is there. Anyway, it comes into the embossing machine, and that's where the magic happens. So you can see, just like the old daisy wheel printers, hands up if you remember daisy wheel printers before those newfangled dot matrix ones came along. And this has like each individual die punch, so to speak, on there, and each individual letter, of course, you'll be able to get like different font versions of this. Well, this particular daisy wheel will have the 2 different fonts that we saw in the software. So this is actually the raised number, and the other one up the top is the concave version. So they come together and emboss your card. So you can see, hopefully, that the top part of that's the front of the card, that is the concave version, so they will slam together and emboss your card. So they've got basically the negative and the positive of that. And of course that will raise the numbers out the front of the card. So this is the embossing part of that, and you can see that there's a massive amount of force on here because it's got this big, sorry I don't have the correct term for it, but this big wheel here, which then of course it rolls up on top and then forces that down with a absolute ton of force. I could literally be a ton of pressure. You know, this is like the Juicero of credit card imprinters. So yeah, it's really nice, of course, driven by this big belt stepper motor here, and that just, yeah, it's not particularly quick. This thing, I think it prints a card in like a minute, so it's not very quick at all, because it's got to roll over and then press. You know, it won't go boom, 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 boom like that. It won't be that quick. It'll actually be significantly slower than that. So I don't know, a character per second or something like that. So it probably, if you watched it, it'd probably go clunk and then back, and then it'd just step the card one part forward, clunk, and then back, and that's it. Then, of course, we have this stepper motor down here, which turns the entire thing. So it selects. Once again, this won't be quick. You won't. It'll probably go like that quickly. So yeah, I'm sure if we watch that, wouldn't be quick at all. You can see that there are some missing characters here, so you know, they've got a maximum there, but I guess they don't need them. You can, of course, buy these separately with different fonts and different dyes and things like that. There you go. There's the different font. So this would have the two fonts on it that we saw installed in the software. Now, I'm not entirely sure what this bit here does, but there's a little sensor wheel down, there's a little spindle down here, and it's got a little photo sensor on it. It's a little encoder wheel, and this thing just like spins around and like just springs back, and this moves out, and it's got some, like, it's got a guide roller down the bottom here thing, and there's guide roller here and here, which is really curious, and there's two guide rollers, there's one here and one at an angle down here, so not sure what the deal is. Anyway, you can see this little hack repair on this wire down here. Look at that. They haven't even, they've just joined it together. They haven't even bothered to heat shrink that or anything. And it's all a bit how you doing. I mean, this is moving like this. I'm not sure how often that moves, but yeah, there's not a lot of strain relief on the wires. My guess is that once the card gets through the embosser here, then this moves at an angle, like pulls it out an angle, and the sled must slide back a bit, because it can't just keep going in here, it'd hit like that. So it's got to like pull it, it's got to slide it back out, yeah, so that must be what it is. It slides the card out of the way. I don't know why they couldn't just make this part shorter, and it just came straight through, why it has to then come back at an angle. Anyway, it gets to here, and this is actually, this part here is a reject thing. So if the card is somehow, it's detected that it's reject, it actually just puts it inside this internal tray here. So like you have to enter in the code to open the case to actually get access to this like failed card thing. And obviously can hold like, yeah, there is a sensor on there. Okay, when it gets up there like that, boom, the next one just slides through, and then it'll tell you via that sensor there that it's full. Anyway, this card guider, I guess, mechanism, I'll call it, is driven by this stepper motor and this pulley down here. Still don't know what that does. Bueller. And then, of course, the final optional step, your card comes in to your foil or topper, as it's called, a topping function that puts like a silver or an optional gold, I don't know if it's real gold, it's just gold color, like the numbers on the top of your credit card. So it must just, I don't know how, does it heat it up and put them on there? I'm not sure what the deal is. I don't want to have to take it apart to find out. Anyway, what it does, this is basically a big electromagnet speaker, and it can pull this up like this. You can see that plate down in there, and it just pulls it up and then forces it down like that. It'll just go thump, and I don't know if it's got a little heating element under there. There's nothing big and beefy in terms of wiring going under there, so you know, if it is heating up, it wouldn't be huge power. But yeah, does it just push down? So I don't know how this this sort of foil type stuff actually works. Anyway, once it's done getting the optional topper foil, then it doesn't shoot out the front like this. It actually comes out the back and then goes all the way back, all the way back, all the way back, and then it'll pull it through these guide rollers here. So this looks like a photo sensor here. So once again, this pusher platform will push this forward. It knows it's there. It knows it's okay. It's coming in here. Start up the rollers. So this bottom roller is actually driven from a belt down there, and that will pull the card through. You'll notice that there's a little flap here and a photo sensor. So that comes up there and just interrupts that photo sensor like that. So it knows it's in, like Flynn, and bingo, it's in the output tray. And of course, you could do up to like 50 credit cards or something, however high it can stack those in. I don't think it has an output tray full sensor. So, yeah. Anyway, then the user just opens the tray like this and they can get access to your finished card. As I said, it takes about a minute per card to emboss them, foil them, and program them. So if you're just programming them, it'd be quicker. It'd just go in here like this, go over the programmer, and then shoot it straight out. It doesn't have to go through the embossing or the foiling top-in process. So there you have it. That's the data card 150i credit card processor, embosser, programmery type device. Really cool. I can't believe I found something as obscure as this in the dumpster, but I kind of sort of know what company it might have come from, although this could have been one of any number of companies. It doesn't have to be a bank or a credit union or something like that. It could be someone who just wants, loyalty cards or something like that. They have, pre-programmed like magnetic stripe or smart card loyalty cards or something like that. You get them custom printed with your company logo. You can buy those for $10 a dozen. And then you use one of these machines, pretty heavy duty construction, everything inside. So that'd be, I guess, fairly reliable, apart from the wiring that's got to go around it. So one of the things I didn't see in here is your more traditional, like cable snaking trunk things, which sort of are like all your wires are inside a trunk and they're all just sort of like, everything's just sort of like, all the wiring's just sort of exposed and open and kind of, but I guess it does the job. And this is, I think, one of the industry's sort of more standard type units. And I'm sure it is quite reliable in the scheme of things. But yeah, I just, there's wires a bit, how you doing, just hanging around the place. But anyway, fascinating devices, and that's what, of course, if you're getting your credit card, if they're processing them by the tens of thousands and sending them out when you get a replacement card, probably wouldn't be done on a smaller scale machine like this. There are much larger ones, big floor standing ones that sit on a factory floor and can, churn them out at a much quicker rate than these ones. This is just a personal credit card programmer for, like countertop service. If you need to get a card replaced, like straight away or something like that, they can use the machine and do it there right in front of you, and they can emboss it, foil it, program it, magnetic stripe, and smart card. Pretty cool, but archaic old serial interface. It's all a throwback from the very early machines. They've got to keep backward compatibility and stuff like that. It's probably why you find a 9600 board serial interface on it. Not terribly surprising. That's pretty common for this type of gear in these sorts of industries. So I don't know, maybe if I got time I can try and troubleshoot why it's jamming in there, but I reckon it's likely that's the reason that they tossed it out. I don't know of the target companies this would have come from in our industrial office complex here. I don't know any of them that have shut down that would have one of these, but it could be any company. Really, who, some loyalty card or something like that. I don't know, but it was likely tossed out because, well, yeah, looks like it's just jammed. Anyway, that's a fascinating bit of kit you wouldn't ordinarily get to see. So if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you have experience with these type of things, I'm sure there's a viewer out there, oh yeah, I've worked on these data card 150i's, and Dave, you got this wrong and it does this and that, and yep, I'm sure. Anyway, let us know in the comments down below. Catch you next time.